Our interns here at Proview Sports Network get pretty competitive. Rivalries are real. So with the big matchup between the El Dorado Eagles and the La Cueva Bears, time to make my pick here on the Proview Rundown. I'm going to go with the El Dorado Eagles. You know, I'm going to change my decision, and I'm going to go with the La Cueva Bears. They're feeling it. All right, hey, calm down. Guys, you do it every time. This is ridiculous. You know what? I'm going to be in makeup.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
What do these interns even do on their break, man?
I don't even know. It's probably way too crazy.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
Hoops New Mexico Basketball Courts is coming to Albuquerque soon. 10 full basketball courts and a whole lot more. For more information, contact Dan Serrano at hoopsnm@aybl.com.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
And it's another edition of the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galletti. Ed Nunez is not here this week. He'll rejoin us next week. We have our producer-director, Alden Iowani, as always. He is on the board, and he is going to get us through this show. We're going to talk a lot of sports, as the commercial showed you. Football is right around the corner, as the first game's coming up a week from tomorrow, and that is hard to believe, but we bring in a very, very special guest and a friend of mine, Mayor Greg Hull from the city of Rio Rancho. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Scott. Thanks for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
I'll tell you what, this guy is well-traveled. He was in San Jose a couple of weeks ago. You've been all over the place. Talk a little bit about why the mayor of Rio Rancho goes to San Jose.
Well, we go to San Jose, Scott, and we go to different areas around the country to talk to different job creators about coming to New Mexico, create opportunities for the people that live right here in the state of New Mexico, and in specifically Rio Rancho. And Rio Rancho is one of those areas where, you know, we're only 35 years old as a city, and we're constantly trying to recruit new businesses. We're trying to recruit opportunities, you know, because we've got a strong population. We've got great schools there. We've got our kids growing up, and when these kids get out of school and they get through college, they need a place to work. So we're constantly working on trying to figure out what we can do to keep them here.
And when you go to these meetings, I mean, how does the recruiting go? Because you call them recruiting meetings, and it kind of makes sense, but tell the viewers how it goes.
Well, it's kind of more of a dog and pony, really. Is it? You know, here we are. Would you like to come and talk to us about possibly coming to the City of Vision, coming to Rio Rancho,
Right.
and opening up shop in the Rio Rancho community? So we go there. We'll take information about our population, our services, the quality of life. We'll talk about so many different things. And hope that we can get them over, visit the city, and then get them to look at what's going on, show them what resources we have, and maybe they'll make a decision to either build a building or take up occupancy in one of our existing spaces.
Greg Hull, the mayor of Rio Rancho, our guest here on the Sports Desk. And I'll tell you what, the city of Rio Rancho is always recruiting because obviously we got a chance to spend a lot of time about 2 months ago, and then they had the event while you were on the road in San Jose, and that's Chamber of Commerce kind of get-togethers with all the businesses of Rio Rancho. Talk about that, because that is one of the big events that turns out a lot of people, and it's great camaraderie.
It is. It is. We pulled everybody together at Slate Street Billiards is where it was, and they talked me into playing a few rounds of billiards there to kind of show off some old skills I had from way back. But anyway, we pull all the businesses together to really network and make sure that the people that are doing business in the community know what our resources are. It's like knowing your inventory. If you own if you own a store, you need to know what's there. So if you go into a store and say, hey, do you have a certain product? And somebody says, no, I don't. But I know where you can get it in Rio Rancho. We want to make sure that we're building those relationships, building those networks. So yes, the chamber, the Rio Rancho Regional Chamber, I think Jerry Shallow does a great job of promoting the local businesses right now. He's been there for, I think, a little over a year now as the new CEO and president of the chamber. And then I work closely with him. We also have an organization up in Rio Rancho called Buy Rio Rancho, which brings awareness to the fact that we need to support our local businesses. We need to support the businesses that are in our community.
Right.
They've invested in our community, and they've brought jobs to our community. They've put their money in our community. And so we need to pay them back by shopping in their stores and patronizing them.
And you mentioned Jerry Shallow, one of the guys who is on the forefront with the Chamber of Commerce. He said the first one went so well, they had a second one, and now they're planning on the third.
Absolutely. And we're going to continue to make these events as strong as we can, make sure that we can get all these businesses together in one location, get them talking to each other. I love to do a thing called Share the Love. That's where we break out our phones, and I encourage people to exchange all their social media information. I'll like your page, you like mine, and we share the love.
I was going to talk a little bit of sports, obviously, with you, but since we're talking about what gets you going and keeps you going as a mayor, we talked off the air about building economy.
Yes. What keeps us going and what keeps me going is the constant recruiting of these businesses and trying to get them to come to Rio Rancho, either to add to the tax base or to add jobs to the community. Either way, it helps us build that economy. And we've seen a lot of things in the last 3.5 years that have come around for Rio Rancho. If you look at the Unser Gateway there, that's everywhere from right at the city limits as you come into the Rio Rancho on Unser all the way up to Southern. You've seen just a tremendous amount of activity there with the expansion of Rust Medical Center, the addition of a great Italian restaurant called Matucci's. We've got New Mexico Orthopedics and a lot of other businesses that have just come into that area, and we're seeing that start to boom. And then on the north side of the city, up in the Enchanted Hills area, seeing a huge amount of growth up there. Safe Light Auto Glass just in the last year bringing 900 jobs to the community. If people are interested in what that means, is they brought $22.5 million worth of annual payroll into the community. Those are outside dollars coming in. People are getting those monies and spending them at local businesses, buying houses, making their car payments, and adding value to the community.
Now, I've been on the radio with you. I've had Mayor Berry on the show here a couple of times, one at the pit, as a matter of fact. And what is the camaraderie with you and the city of Albuquerque? Because you're separate cities, but you're right next, and a lot of people feel that you're the same city.
We really, the boundaries blurred there. I mean, it is. We are a part of the same regional economic wheel or engine, if you will. And there is good camaraderie between myself and Mayor Barry. We work together on a lot of projects. We try to organize our economic development efforts to make sure that, let's say some companies looking at New Mexico and specifically the Albuquerque area, well, we want to make sure that our efforts are unified, because ultimately, whether those that company lands in Albuquerque or whether they land in Rio Rancho, it really helps the entire local economy. Take Safe Light, for example. Not all 900 people that work there live in Rio Rancho. There's some that live in Bernalillo, there's some that live in Corrales, there's some that live in even Edgewood and Placitas and Albuquerque. And so it really is a regional effort to make sure that we're bringing that opportunity to New Mexico. So working together is critical.
Greg Hull, the mayor of the city of Rio Rancho, our guest here. You were talking also about PCM.
Yeah, PCM, that's a company we recruited a year ago, and they came in real hard and heavy, hired up about 220 jobs. Now, they have experienced a little bit of a hiccup here in the last week or two. We saw that they're restructuring some things. So although they went up to 224 jobs very rapidly, they drew that back by about 50 jobs here just recently. But I feel that it's really just going to be a point of restructuring, Scott, that they're going to go in, figure out what they have. And I think they moved into this. Their original hiring expectation to get to 224 was, I think it was 3 years. Well, they did it in 12 months. So maybe they kind of excelled into that a little quickly. They got to back up a little bit and then take another approach at it. So I feel confident they're going to remain a strong community partner, and I think they're here for the long term.
We're going to step aside and take a break and come right back here on the Sports Desk with the mayor of Rio Rancho, Greg Hull. But first, to the top 10 plays of the week.
Got away with one nonetheless.
He definitely created some conflict.
Here we go. 2-1 game on. Sam Gleadle's going to finish it. Check the replay and show you how it happened in just a moment. Here's Luke Lawrence.
Very nice PK.
So it's going to be Jack Clancy's going to take this. Domiciano's there too, but I don't think this is going to be a left-footed take. Clancy, yes! Jack Clancy.
Hey, I said it earlier in the broadcast, Adam. He loves to.
This is dangerous as Gleadle will leave it off. Pacheco, does he want to have one? A cutback. Pacheco's in trouble now as he tries to switch it. Here's a 1-2, and again it's Gleadle. Gleadle's going to try to bend one. Yes! How about it from Sam Gleadle? It's gorgeous on the inside of the foot. And
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Our interns here at Proview Sports Network get pretty competitive. Rivalries are real.
All day with you two, jeez.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
The Barley Room, proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Terry Cosper Insurance Agency is a proud partner with Proview Networks and a proud supporter of New Mexico high school athletics. Terry's been a local farmer's agent for over 20 years for auto, home, life, and business insurance. Just like high school sports are important, so are teen drivers. For more information, call Terry or one of his licensed staff members at 898-5556. Quotes are available for you.
Sure, you could get him a new car. You could also light a pile of money on fire. So maintaining this old car is your best option. Keep it running longer, stronger, with quality parts and a whole lot of Napa know-how.
And we are back here on the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galletti. Ed Nunez will rejoin us next week. Alden Iowani, our fine director, doing a great job as always. And we are privileged to have the mayor of the city of Rio Rancho, Mr. Greg Hull, with us. And we talked a little bit about all the projects that you're working on. Well, maybe not all, but we talked about some of the projects that you were working on. Now let's get into the nuts and bolts a little bit with the schools. The Rio Rancho School District is well-renowned here in New Mexico, not to take anything away from APS, because working both together, they're both outstanding, but they have different dynamics. So really Rio Rancho, you got 2 high schools, and you got 17 schools overall. Talk a little bit about that.
You know, our school system is absolutely amazing, and I've got to throw props out to the teachers, the administration, Sue Cleveland, who had a vision many years ago to create the best school district in the state, and she has been unwavering in her commitment to make sure that the quality of school system was just not compromised. And that really, from an economic development, I always tie everything back to economic development, right, Scott. From an economic development standpoint, obviously when job creators want to come to town, looking at the potential workforce is one of the things that they do. Mm-hmm. So, you know, your schools play an integral part in that. But I will say that from academics to athletics, our schools just knock it out of the park, and I can't talk about them enough, because I had obviously 5 kids that were raised in that school district. Years ago, they wanted to separate it off. It was originally half of our kids went to the APD, and then the other half went to Jemez School District, and So eventually what was said was we want to form our own district, we want to kind of take control of our own destiny, and that was a huge step forward in creating what is now a very nationally respected school district.
You know, one of the things that blows me away is the fact that you mentioned that you've only been a city for 30 plus years.
Right. Yeah,
I've been here almost 10, and it seems like it's been there forever.
It does, but we're 35 years old. As a matter of fact, just last year we celebrated the 35th anniversary of the city being incorporated. Just to go back, Intel was there before the city was a city, and there was Rio Rancho Estates out there before the city was a city. And the funny thing was people, I don't know if you remember that 2-lane road that used to shoot up the hill from where Cottonwood is now. If it snowed, people couldn't get up that hill. It was,
right.
You know, I remember before we actually moved to Rio Rancho, we lived in Albuquerque, and we'd see people trying to get up that hill, and I go, well, I'll never live up there, and now I'm the mayor.
That's a good story. Wow, that's outstanding. Well, we spent a lot of time a couple of years ago, and I'll get into the tough part because we deal with high school sports, obviously. We also deal with the Yaffle, so we'll deal with the kids.
Yeah.
But, in fact, we've seen a lot of the Cleveland and the Rio Rancho kids on our Yaffle broadcast. But a couple of years ago, Cleveland was in the state championship game. We interviewed you on the air. We had you in the booth for the second half.
Yes.
You were a fan. And
I am a fan.
Now, how do you keep it an even keel between Rio Rancho High and Cleveland High?
It's hard. I have to, you know, there's a character in comic books called Two-Face.
I know that one.
You have to put the Rams colors on this side and the Cleveland colors on this side, and, you know, be cheering. What's hard is when they're in these championship games against each other. That's difficult because you're going, man, either way that this turns out, it's going to be hard and it's going to be great. Is that you want your kids to all be winners and all be successful. So when you have the two of them on the field together competing, that's where it gets interesting because you want the best for all of them. But you know, speaking of Yaffle, my son came up through Yaffle, and a well-known athlete that came out of Rio Rancho that you'll probably remember was Jarek Magnet, and so Jarek went on to play for UNM,
right.
and neat young man. And our boys grew up together, so it was Cameron and Jarek grew up together, and so. Playing on Yaffle, and so Yaffle's been we've been very invested in that.
Now, once again, a couple of years ago, you're at the game, and you're right there front and center. I mean, there's no bones about it. You're not a, hey, here I am, but I mean, you're at the game.
Yes.
Which is kind of cool. I'd imagine, because I didn't ask you this, you were probably at the game this year when Rio Rancho was in it.
Yes, I was. I try to make these games. I try to get out to all of them because I'm very excited about what the kids are doing. And once again, I have to contain myself, not, especially when there's two teams on the field that I love. Right. You have to be careful, but ultimately going out to show the support because I want to be involved in these the kids' successes.
Now, here's one of the interesting things about you. You'll be the first one to say, hey, I don't know a lot about sports, but you're involved in sports. So that, to me, I'm thinking, how does he not know about sports?
Well, I know that they exist. No, I love watching sports. I like being on the sideline. I'm always fascinated by the people that store all the data and say, oh, I know that guy's name, I know his stats, or I know that girl's name, I know all of her stats.
Right.
And for me, I love enjoying watching the games. This year, I became so immersed in the World Series with the Cubs. That was, and I've never really watched from beginning to end a full World Series before. I'll watch the Super Bowl because that's one game, but the World Series, it's a different thing. So that's a several day commitment.
Now you were talking about the World Series. I just got back from the Connie Mack World Series up in Farmington. I bring that up for a couple of reasons locally for you. There were a couple of kids that played at La Cueva, kid that played at Berlin. There was one that played at Piedra Vista and one that played at Cleveland.
Yes.
And my partner was from Denver, and I brought up the Cleveland player. Oh, yeah, he's from the city of Rio Rancho. Rio Rancho, we had their wrestling team up. He's the head of officials up in Denver for the state high school wrestling, and he's talking about Rio Rancho's wrestling. Your city is well known.
Our city is well known. That's why I say we're not only locally but nationally acclaimed in academics and athletics. I got to tell you is that we've seen our kids excel in so many ways. Our football teams have won championships, I think 3 out of the last 4 years, and bringing those statewide championships home. Our wrestling teams, our swim teams, are just any team you can think of. I can't. The baseball teams have done amazing, and I love going to these games because they're just really exciting, a lot of fun, and you can watch the passion and emotion that the kids have and pouring themselves into those games. They want to be champions, and they work hard at it.
Tristan Schallenberger, by the way, is the kid who played for the Four Corners Club Sox out of Farmington for Mike McGaha, the head coach of Piedra Vista. I guess when you beat Piedra Vista in baseball, they want you to be on their team.
Yes.
That's kind of how that works out.
Yeah, right? I think so. But yeah, once again, Scott, I like to say I don't know all the details and don't know all the names, but I get really excited about seeing the games, and I've got that team spirit going on. We want to see our teams win. We want to see our kids be successful, and they really do. I got to say, all the kids up in Rio Rancho really make us all very proud, being the champions that they are.
You know, one of the things that I need to bring out, and I can say the same thing about APS coaches because I've got great relationships with all of them, but the Rio Rancho coaches, from wrestling to football to basketball to softball, they are fantastic people. They care about the kids, and they're great to work with. They're ambassadors of the games and the city.
Absolutely. These coaches, I got to tell you, I know a lot of the coaches in our city as well, and I've met with some of them, and then I'll go to the banquets when they win, and I'll tell you what. Our coaches.
Better watch it there. People are going to think that you're a front runner.
You know what? It might be.
Yeah.
We can talk about that later. But the coaches invest themselves. I mean, they're like a third parent in getting in there and making sure these kids are groomed right. Making sure that they're successful, and really, really giving the kids the opportunity to excel and achieve their goals. And I think that. I can't say thank you enough, because that takes a lot of commitment, a lot of dedication, and a lot of personal investment in each and every one of those kids. And they make those kids they're just great people.
And I understand that Coach Murphy had a loss in the family, and they had the funeral, I believe it was yesterday, so that's always tough.
Yeah, we always send our thoughts and prayers out to the family, Coach's family. That that's always a difficult time. And knowing that whenever somebody loses a loved one, they're in our thoughts and prayers, and whatever we can do to stand with their families, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg Hull, the mayor of the city of Rio Rancho, is our guest. And why don't we go ahead and play a little bit of our schedules here. Alden, if you can go ahead and do week 1. We're going to show a schedule because I want you to actually be able to talk about Rio Rancho and Cleveland. Well, there you see, the season starts on August 23rd. Can you believe that?
I cannot believe another football season is upon us. Here it goes.
Then you got Oñate playing at Cleveland. I know the town's going to be very excited about that.
Yeah,
and the Chamber has something that they're going to be doing with the Rio Rancho and Cleveland home games as well that I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Chamber is getting a lot more invested in these local games. They're trying to make sure that they're a part of these and they have a presence, getting more people, getting more of our businesses involved in these local games, making sure that there's that clear and obvious partnership between the school district and the businesses in the community.
Right, absolutely. Let's look at the second part of week 1 as a lot of games, and there you go. Mayfield is at Rio Rancho.
There it is.
So, I mean, you're talking about 2 major games on the same night, Oñate at Cleveland and Mayfield at Rio Rancho. What a way to start the year.
Yeah, no kidding. But there's a little history with Mayfield. I don't know if you remember this, but 3 years ago, Mayfield was in Rio Rancho for the championship game, and the mayor of Las Cruces and I had a bet. And
I was hoping you'd bring that
up. We had a little bet there that the losing mayor would have to wear the winning team's jersey to a city council meeting.
Oh,
so,
nice.
So we won that game, and we sent that down to Mayor Migashama, and he. I guess I had to wear it during a city council meeting.
And you bring up that game. That was a game that ended in a weird fashion.
It did.
It was a lot of scoring, and the game ends on a safety. That was the difference.
It was. But you know what was impressive about that game, because I was right there on the sideline for that, is that Rio Rancho lost the ball in an interception there on the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
And so and we thought, oh, this is it. But Rio Rancho held Mayfield at that 1 yard line until it forced him into a punt situation, and then they snapped that ball right over his head. And you know, I tell you what, that was a hard loss for Mayfield, because they fought and fought and fought. But the fact that Rio Rancho held them on that 1 yard line for 3 downs was pretty impressive. You know, considering how cold it was, what this game meant, and what the stakes were.
We'll look at the remaining part Saturday in week 1. And there you go. You have Hope Christian and Academy and Albuquerque High at Centennial at the Field of Dreams. We'll take a break on that note. Come right back with the mayor of Rio Rancho, Mr. Gregory Hull, here on the Sports Desk.
Great.
Visit the Frontier Restaurant. Due to heavy construction on Central, take lead or coal coming north or south. The Frontier Restaurant. Get your Frontier fix on. Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of Proview Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but 2 great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill.
You know, we try to let all of our interns do everything here at Proview Sports Network. Sometimes it just doesn't pan out. Hey everybody, welcome to the Proview Rundown. I'm Adam Deal. What a big week in football, week 3. As you all know, come on, this Eagle, jeez.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
Altitude Sports Grill is where Albuquerque's sports fans won't miss a game. With locally crafted brews on tap and refreshingly crisp cocktails. Located in Hotel Cascada, Albuquerque residents find a staycation worth staying for. Catching Lobo sports, enjoying a beer on the beach, or wiping out, Hotel Cascada is home to your urban adventure. Affordable guest rooms, no-hassle water park parties, and much more.
Garden Sorts Team Sales is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Get into the game. Garden Schwartz Team Sales features fine products and apparel from Wilson, Schutt Sports, Speedline, and Russell Athletics. We offer custom embroidery and screen printing services for all of your school or club needs, from team uniforms to school leather jackets. Specializing in all sports and serving all communities, from big schools to small schools, from up north to down south, or all points in between. Garden Schwartz Team Sales. For great prices, friendly staff, and quality products, call Garden Schwartz Team Sales today at 1-800-880-7767. That's 1-800-880-7767. Since 1939, Garden Schwartz Team Sales is a proud supporter of New Mexico youth athletics.
Hey Lobo fans, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Samantha.
Jaguar Land Rover Albuquerque has been a family-owned business since 1988. The 2017 Jaguar F-Pace has been named the winner of the 2017 World Car of the Year and World Car Design of the Year.
Land Rover's signature terrain response system is flawless against any curveball New Mexico weather can throw at you.
We have a class-leading extended warranty on all Jags and Land Rovers and one of the greatest pre-owned inventories in the state of New Mexico.
Call 505-797-3600 to schedule a test drive.
I am never getting married.
Never.
Guaranteed.
You picked a beautiful ring.
Thank you. We're never having kids.
I love it here.
We are never moving to the suburbs. We are never getting one of those. We're never having another kid.
I'm pregnant.
I'm never letting go.
For all the nevers in life, talk to State Farm agent Michelle Rudolph or Marty Size in Albuquerque.
For 55 years, people have bought trucks from Tillery in Los Lunas. We have a great selection of vehicles, the quality service department, and some of the best deals in the state. But most importantly, we found people prefer to buy trucks from people who actually drive trucks.
Tillery is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Locally owned and operated, located in Los Lunas, right off I-25, exit 203.
Welcome back here to the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Gallotti. Ed Nunez is not here this week. He will rejoin us next week. Alden Iowani, our fine director, doing a great job as always, as this is the time of year that we put him to work with a lot of graphics and a lot of stuff as sports season coming up and football season coming up. And just 2 weeks from tomorrow, the 23rd, is the opener at New Santa Community Stadium. The man on my right is the mayor of the city of Rio Rancho, Gregory Hull. And Greg, I'll tell you what, we looked at the first part of the schedule, and it's kind of amazing football season right around the corner, but we were talking off air. You do a show yourself.
I do. I have a Sunday morning show that airs on KDSK radio every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. and where we talk about the things that are going on in Rio Rancho. We talk about ribbon cuttings, we talk about new businesses, we talk about activities that are going on. And another thing we need to talk about before we get off the show, a big event coming up in Rio Rancho is Sunday is Fun Day, and that's a huge event.
You know what? I'm glad that you brought that up because that was talked about when we were doing the event over at Slate Street a couple of weeks ago. What exactly is that?
Well, Sunday is Fun Day. We have this, it's really dubbed as what's known as the Mayor's Picnic, the Mayor's Sunday is Fun Day. And this event was created years ago by a gentleman by the name of Tony Popper. He's a city councilor, and he'd run for mayor, and he felt that the mayor's ball was quite pretentious and wanted a more ground level way that the citizens could interact with the mayor. So Sunday is Fun Day was created as the mayor's picnic, where everybody could come and just enjoy a day at the park and enjoy it. Well, it's grown now to where a few years ago I laid down the challenge that we should try to get 4,000 people out to this event. And first year we blew that away. The next year we wanted 6,000, and then last year we aimed for 7. I don't know if we hit the 7, but we are in between 6,000 and 7,000 people that come out to this event. We have 120 vendors.
You realize this is a walk-up state too, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you got 7,000 already, you don't know what's going to show up because this is a walk-up state.
You really don't. You don't know. Exactly.
You might have 15,000 before all is done.
That is true. That is true. So we take the opportunity in any venue. So I'm going to take this as a shameless plug for the event.
There you go.
We've got 120 either nonprofits or businesses, organizations that are represented at this particular event. There's always a mayor's challenge. And speaking of champions coming out of Rio Rancho High School, last year the Rio Rancho cheerleading squad beat the mayor's team, so they took us out. They took us out, and I'd won the trophy 2 years in a row. First year we did knocker ball, First year we did a laser tag competition. Second year we did this thing called knocker ball. That's hilarious. And you feel like a hamster in a ball running around the field. And then last year we did this obstacle course that I think was just about to kill me. But this year it's going to be an obstacle. The mayor's challenge is an obstacle course and kick dodgeball. Kick dodgeball.
Kick dodgeball.
So
okay.
I don't know how this could come away. I think they're trying to take me down. I think they're trying to take me down.
No, you know what? The way that they would have tried to take you down is a dunk tank.
Now wait a minute. See, there is a dunk tank going to be there, and they've sold tickets to put me into this thing.
Nice.
So
okay.
It's an all-around rounded show.
Yeah.
You can kick
They're going to get you one way or another.
The other going down.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. So there's going to be a dunk tank.
Well, you have to. That makes the city feel like you're one of them.
It really does. But the fact of the matter is, I love being in a dunk tank because it gets hot out there. And so it's a nice, refreshing. There you go.
Don't tell anyone that secret, though.
I won't.
That's good.
But we're at Haynes Park this year. And parking is at Intel Corporation, and we're going to shuttle people back and forth across 528. I remind people constantly, don't run across 528. Just take one of the shuttle buses, park at Intel. We'll drop you off at the front gate. Enjoy yourself. We'll take you back to your car, and that's a free service. We want people to enjoy. And Haynes Park is terrible for parking in that area. If you know that venue, the parking is terrible. Intel has been a wonderful partner with us to allow us to use their parking lot, and we just shuttle people back and forth. It makes it really nice. And the nice thing about this particular venue as well is we have the community center, so you can get in and out of the sun, enjoy some air conditioning in there. There's a silent auction that goes on in there, and then there's also the pool is open as well, so you'll be able to use the swimming pool at the same time. So if we don't get you in the dunk tank, we'll get you in the pool.
That is fantastic. So that is a big event that if you're in Rio Rancho, you want to go out and attend. Let's go back to the schedules right now. We'll go to week 2. We're putting the schedules up because now we have the master schedules for the metro area, and so Mr. Hull, the mayor of Rio Rancho, can talk about his team. You see at the top there, week number 2, Cleveland, at Wilson, at La Cueva.
At La Cueva. So yeah, this is going to be an exciting matchup right there because both of these teams are strong, but obviously I'll be down there. If I make it to this game, since it's at Wilson, we'll try to get down there, but obviously I'll be rooting for Cleveland whether or not I'm there.
There you go. West Mason, St. Pius, an outstanding one. Trisco Oñate at the Field of Dreams. That'll be very, very interesting. Farmington coming down to play Del Norte. That'll be interesting as well. As we go to the second part of week number 2, as we have 3 pages on each week, and Rio Rancho is at El Paso Americas. That's a pretty good little rivalry going on.
Yes.
They signed on, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago. They had a game at Americas, and it's been flip-flopping ever since.
Absolutely.
So it's nice to see that series still going. Do you have a bet with the mayor of El Paso?
No, I do not.
As a matter of fact,
maybe
you gotta make one.
I might have to call him up and see what's going on there.
There you go.
I typically will. And that was interesting when we did that wager.
You got to jab with the people from Texas, right?
You do. My wife's from Texas, so I have to jab with her all the time.
So you do that all the time. Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. She's from Lubbock, but so I might have to give the mayor of El Paso a call and. I typically will only have these little wagers once we get up into the
bigger ones,
in the championship area.
I asked you kind of tongue-in-cheek, but realistically, this is about the 6th year that they've been playing each other, so it's kind of become a yearly thing.
It really has. It really has. So looking forward to seeing how that goes. Obviously, that's going to be a nice little trip down there for Rio Rancho. I don't know that once again I'll be able to make that. I try to hit all the local games, but I'll be rooting for them in spirit.
I think you already semi committed to going to Wilson if you can.
If I can,
if you
absolutely.
can. So let's go to the 3rd page of week number 2 to look at that Saturday action. And on the 2nd, Tucumcari against Academy, Las Cruces at Cibola. That'll be at Nacenda Community Stadium. Manzano with a good one. That'll be against Centennial at Wilson. And Miyamura against Rio Grande. And you also have a 5 o'clock Saturday night game, which is kind of rare, but Taos will be at Milne against Hope Christian. So a double hitter at Milne. So if you're a football fan, Milne's a place to go.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good back-to-back there.
Let's go now to week 3, as we may not get all the weeks in, because I know there's a big one, and you may or may not even be aware of this, but Artesia comes to town against Cleveland this year.
Oh, okay.
They have the return game. I believe it's week 4 or 5, but they come to Cleveland for a rematch of last year where they went down there there, and it was a packed, and I mean packed house, standing room only. They're known for their big crowds. So was Cleveland. So was Rio Rancho.
Yeah, so that'll be exciting to see that. I'm glad it's here, and definitely have to put that one on my calendar, make sure we get out to that one. I got to tell you, my wife just loves getting out to these football games as well, so we always get out there and cheer with the fans. But I got to tell you, though, there's a perk to being mayor here, Scott, is that they invite you down on the field, and it's like I talked to you about that championship game.
Well, that championship game, we had you on the air at halftime of that game.
Right there, you know, when I saw that snap, you know, that safety. And
you were right there.
I was there with a couple of the Rio Rancho police officers. We looked at each other and go, did that just happen? You know, so we were, but no. So there is a little perk there that I get to go down on the field and get the up close view of it all. Speaking of just happening, you look at September 8th. You got Manzano against Cibola. That's at New Santa Community Stadium. At Wilson, Mayfield, El Dorado, La Cueva Centennial. Let's go to the next page on this, and we will see Week 3, page number 2, the Friday action. That should be popping up here momentarily. There we go. And you got Clovis coming to Rio Rancho. I knew that there was going to be a good one there. Yep. Clovis at Rio Rancho. That should be an exciting game. And as a matter of fact, I'll be in Clovis here in a week or two. So right around this time, we might have to figure it out. And let's go to the Saturday action, and I think we have another big game coming up that Saturday. Cleveland at Las Cruces, Field of Dreams. That one's going to be a good one. Look, Las Cruces, there's no doubt about it. They've got some strong teams down there, and always great games to watch. We'll take a quick break, come back with one more segment. We have the mayor of Rio Rancho, Mr. Gregory Hull. He is our guest here on the Sports Desk.
Our interns here at Proview Sports Network get pretty competitive. Rivalries are real.
So with the big matchup between the El Dorado Eagles and the La Cueva Bears, time to make my pick here on the Proview Rundown. I'm going to go with the El Dorado Eagles. You know, I'm going to change my decision, and I'm going to go with the La Cueva Bears. They're feeling it. All right, hey, calm down. Guys, you do it every time. This is ridiculous. You know what? I'm going to be in makeup.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
What do these interns even do on their break, man?
I don't even know. It's probably way too crazy.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
Hoops New Mexico Basketball Courts is coming to Albuquerque soon. 10 full basketball courts and a whole lot more. For more information, contact Dan Serrano at hoopsnm@aybl.com.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
And we are back here on the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galletti, joined by the mayor of Rio Rancho, Mr. Gregory Hull. Alden Iowani, our fine director, doing a great job. We'll go right to week 4. Somewhere along the line here, we're going to see the game that I'm looking for. But let's go to week 4 on the high school football schedule. We have the mayor of Rio Rancho, but we want to get the viewers to know what games are coming up too as you look at the master schedule. Interesting one on top, La Cueva and West Mesa Community on the 14th. And then you've got Cibola at Carlsbad, Sandia against Atrisco, El Dorado, Albuquerque. We'll look at page 2 of this one right now as going into week 4. Kind of hard to believe week 2 is coming up. Well, Centennial is at Cleveland. Man, Cleveland and Rio Rancho play such tough schedules, it's not even funny.
That's a rough schedule so far.
Yeah, well, for both of them actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, Centennial gets to come to Cleveland, and then we'll look at the Saturday games here. And Saturday, September 16th, and that has St. Pius against Alamogordo and Rio Rancho at the Field of Dreams against Oñate.
Yep.
So that's going to be a tough one there.
Another good game there.
Another night game there, which is kind of interesting because a lot of times on Saturdays they don't play night games, but this year we're seeing a couple here in the metro area and a couple down at the Field of Dreams as well.
Yeah.
But when you got those nice facilities, why not use them?
You got to use them, and I've got to be honest with you. I've never attended a ball game at Field of Dreams, and I need to get down there and make one.
See,
of these
I stand
games.
corrected. I thought that you'd been there before. Okay,
Yeah,
so
no, I've not been to Field of Dreams before.
Well, you would have liked being there a couple of years ago when Mr. Shelley kicked that game-winning field goal against Rio Rancho.
Oh yeah.
you would have loved to have been underneath the scoreboard on that one too. So let's go to week 5 now, really quick, as we have the mayor of Rio Rancho, Gregory Hull, in week 5. We will go, well, I think we have week 5 there we go. Had a quick look at us real quick, and there's a couple of good games. Del Norte, Albuquerque, always a good matchup. Cibola at Sandia, at Wilson, Atrisco against Volcano at Community Stadium. This is the one that I was talking about, Mayor. Artesia and Cleveland. Cleveland and Rio Rancho, especially here in the metro area, very much like Artesia. I mean, the stadium at Artesia, Bulldog Bowl, I mean, they get about, well, I think it seats about 5,500. They'll get 55 to 7,000 a game.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy in these games. A lot of energy.
But it's the same thing where I think they have a berm area up by where the weight room and the dressing rooms are, kind of like Cleveland does. But they'll bring a lot of people down.
They'll bring a lot of people. We'll pack.
That's going to be a packed house.
And you know, Scott, that's another thing. We love hosting these games, and
because this is a community game where the community actually travels with the team.
Exactly, and then they get done and they disperse among our city, and they enjoy our restaurants, and it really has a really tremendous impact across the entire community.
After talking about that, it dawned on me. Yes, local impact, because I know. Having worked with the Artesia radio on occasion last year, they talk about what it means last year when Cleveland came to town and they were going to the local restaurants and what the economy does.
We pack out the restaurants, they stop, they fill up with gas, and it's a great trade-off. We bring some to their community, they bring some to ours, and really there's just a lot of great crossover benefit there. Not to mention you get to see some really, really great football.
Speaking of great football, the second page of week number 5, and there you go, as you got St. Pius at Lovington. That'll be an outstanding game. And you look down the list, Hope Christian against Bloomfield. Roswell and Belen will go to that Saturday on the 23rd. This will round out our schedule. And you got Rio Rancho. This will be a big one because these are two teams talked about in the state championship talk. Monzano, they have Jordan Bird, they have a lot of elements, and they were a good team last year, and Rio Rancho defending state champions.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So that's going to be pretty big. We went over the schedule, and now that we're done with the schedules, let's talk a little bit back about your special event coming up, the date, the place, time, and all that good stuff.
Well, once again, the Rio Rancho Sundays Fun Day, I want to make sure people know it's August 20th. Sunday, August 20th, it's going to be starting at noon and run till about 4 o'clock. So we've got that event, and it's going to be, it's always a lot of fun. So just reminding people to park at Intel, that's the best way to go.
Okay, so we looked at the schedules, Mr. Mayor, and we saw your local teams, Rio Rancho and Cleveland, all tough games. I mean, we looked at 5 weeks. There's not a gimme in there.
Right, right. No, I think from a game standpoint, it's going to be an amazing season. It's going to be strong, and just looking forward to seeing some good football.
Now, I want to report from you about how many little side wagers you made, how many jerseys are going to be worn by opposing mayors, and all this stuff. I want to keep a scoreboard this year.
If there's any jerseys to be worn, we'll make sure we let you know.
I want to make sure I know that.
And I might even come on wearing whatever the winning team jerseys right here, and we'll do a follow-up blurb or something or other.
Very nice.
You know, instead of just doing it in front of the city council, do it right here with you.
Now, we have a few minutes to go here on the show as Brody, our fine stage manager, is telling us how much time is left. Let's go over just what you want to talk about in closing.
Well, just, Scott, I appreciate all of the opportunity to come in here, not only to talk about how great schools and athletes we have in the city of Vision, but also some of the great things that are going on in Rio Rancho right now that just make it an exciting city, make it an exciting place to be, and we up in Rio Rancho are just constantly trying to make the city a greater community. We tout great public safety, we tout great businesses, and we tout great opportunity, and I think we've just got we've got the full gambit of great stuff going on in Rio Rancho right now.
Now, you mentioned the missus before. I want to keep good camaraderie in the household too.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that she goes to a lot of games.
She does.
Does she go to more than you?
No, we go together.
Oh, you do go together.
Yeah, we go together. So and so we always try, but she's always right there, very energetic about participating in the game. Shows us a great time.
Does she have a favorite team? And I'm sure you're not going to tell me that either.
I'll tell you. Look, all of our kids were raised, and went up through Rio Rancho High School. That was even before Cleveland was built.
Right.
So we do have a slight affinity to Rio Rancho only because it's kind of where it's at. But we love Cleveland. We love Rio Rancho. We love all of the students that are there. They do a great job. We're just incredibly proud of everything that these kids do in the city of Rio Rancho, and they do a tremendous job of representing our city and being ambassadors to the community as well.
That game a couple of years ago, you were in our booth, and that was at Cleveland. I wouldn't have known that you had kids at Rio Rancho.
Yeah, absolutely, and we raised, like I said, we had 4 of our kids that went through Rio Rancho High School and 1 through Cibola.
Well, final minute here. We're with Gregory Hull, the mayor of the city of Rio Rancho. Thank you so much for coming here, and I want to tell you to keep up the great work. You and I keep in contact all the time, and it's amazing. You traveling here and there, and you wonder why is he going there and not on vacation? But there's, they call it the city of vision.
Yes.
You have a vision.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Scott. And it's been a great opportunity to come here and speak with you on your show. I appreciate it.
So, he is the mayor of the city of Rio Rancho, Mr. Gregory Hull. Want to thank him. Ed Nunez will be back with us next week. Want to thank our crew, Alden Iowani, doing a great job as always. And football season right around the corner. The 23rd will be the first game at New Center Community Stadium. We'll have it for you right here on Proview Networks Comcast 26. Till next time, I'm Scott Galletti. We'll see you next week on the Sports Desk.